Welcome. In the previous lesson, I mentioned that we will choose Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9 for our Galera cluster deployment. So let's go ahead and create these EC2s. But before we create these EC2s, let's create the SSH key pair and the security group beforehand. So these will show up in the drop-down list when we create the EC2s. Those of you who have taken my CloudDB or MySQL DBA courses, I know you have done this exercise, this step quite few times by now. So here is the information from our MySQL clusters course repo for both the key pair and the security group for your reference. So go ahead and follow along with me or watch me first do it, and then you can do it along with Bob. So first let's go ahead and create the SSH key pair. Let's call this key pair as Galera cluster, okay? And the key pair type, let's choose ed25519, and the key format is .pem. The .pem is, please note, this is for Mac and for the Linux. If you have a Windows laptop, you need to create .ppk, but make sure that the permissions are correct. So this is where I am logged in to my AWS Management Console. Please note I am working in the Northern Virginia. From the EC2 screen, you click on the key pairs, create key pair, and call this Galera cluster. Pick up the key pair type ed.pem and click create key pair. Once you do that, it will download in my downloads folder. You please check where it will get downloaded. So what I did normally, I put all my private key rings, everything in my .ssh on my local user home directory under .ssh. So let me go ahead and I mentioned right there also. So I will just simply go ahead and I will take this file, the key ring, and on my local terminal I will move it there. Let me double check that if it worked. Right there, it got this one. And then you know that for every private key pair, you have to have permissions read and write only for the owner. Let me actually show you that what I mean. I know I have shown this so many times for now. So right there you can see that the geo, the group, and the others, they have the read permission. You want to remove them. You only want to have read write for the owner. And this is exactly what we're saying, that go ahead and change read and write 6, 4 plus 2, 6 for the owner, and everything else go ahead and remove the read permission. And now you can see that we can see the permissions has been changed to read and write. So this piece is done. Let's go ahead and create the security group. Copy, go back here. The security group is under VPC. In this interface, look for the security group on the left, click on create security group, call this Galera cluster security group. Let's call this security group for Galera cluster. Choose the default VPC. Go ahead and create the inbound rules. For now, let's go ahead and create the SSH so that SSH on 22 port, we can actually connect to our EC2. So let's do this from anywhere. So at least from this laptop, I can connect to our EC2 that is running our Galera cluster. So let me call this SSH traffic or SSH access. Okay, by default, you don't need to define outbound rules. By default, all the traffic on all the ports to the internet, it is allowed. So let's go ahead and create a security group. Once it is created, let me go ahead and change the tag, call this SSH traffic, right? This is for SSH. Let's go ahead and see what else we have. This is what I have done. I have clearly mentioned. Let's go ahead and create the 3306 inbound rule, because this is where we will be accessing through the MySQL client. So let's go ahead and do MySQL Aurora. Go ahead and say add rule. Let's pick up MySQL Aurora. This is 3306, and that we do want to access where we are right from this terminal from here. So let's call this MySQL access. Okay, let's go ahead and create the third one, and that is to create the custom TCP type of these port 4444, 4567, 4568. These are all related to the Galera cluster, and I have clearly mentioned this 4444 is for the state snapshot transfer SST, and then for the 4567 is the replication traffic between your primary instances in the Galera cluster. And Galera cluster also use 4568 for the incremental state transfer. What these are, we can describe and we can discuss this later on. So let's go ahead and create this 444 copy. Go ahead and create this custom TCP, this one, and that should be coming from within our storage. We don't want to access this from the internet. This should be among the cluster members. So that is why I selected this one. Whoever will have this security group will be eligible and will be okay for them to communicate over these ports. So let me see what I have here is, I call this, just for the sake of better readability, let me call this is the snapshot traffic. Go ahead and create another one, and that will be 4567. Let's make it 4567, and that will be also coming from the security group, this security group, and this will be the replication, and then let's go 4568. So this is the Galera cluster replication, and let's create another one, and that will be 4568, right? 4568 is for the inter IST. Let me go ahead and call this IST traffic. Okay, and then we want to do just one more, and that is the all ICMP, so we can have testing that one cluster member can ping to the other one. So let's open the ICMP traffic for them, and that will be all ICMP on protocol IP version 4. Let's go ahead and do among each other so they can ping each other. Okay, and 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's go ahead and actually go ahead and first create the rules. Let's go ahead and do that, and then also go ahead and do this one here also. Like I have this state snapshot right there. Let's go ahead and tag them. So state snapshot transfer SST. Okay, and let's do, which one is that? This is the replication, just for the sake of easy readability. And this is our MySQL, and the last one but not the least, this is our IST. So let's go ahead and IST traffic, and this one, this is just for the ping on the ICMP protocol. So now we have, this is our security group, and then we created our key pair. Let's go and stop here, and please go ahead and do this exercise so we can go in the next lesson and go ahead and create the EC2s, and I will see you in the next lesson.